Professional learning communities exist to impact and improve teaching and learning. There is an abundance of research that shows improved teacher instruction and student achievement gains after the implementation of PLCs in schools. The reason for the success of PLCs is that the work of PLCs keeps a clear vision and mission practice around three big ideas. First, PLCs clarify the purpose of the school, which is to ensure that each student learns at high levels. Secondly, if we are to ensure high-level learning for each student, PLCs create a context for us to work collaboratively in order to meet the needs of each student. Lastly, in order for us to know if students are learning and to determine if we are successfully meeting their needs, we must create a results orientation culture at our school. During the course of a PLC meeting, conversation should focus on data, the interpretation of the data, and the decisions that can be made in light of the data. From this, responsibilities can be delegated to PLC members based upon data-supported evidence. Hence, an essential element that should mark a PLC meeting is time devoted to data-driven discussions. Let's listen to this PLC team as a teacher discusses some data with her PLC teammates.
I want to do, and we're kind of short on time today, but to start figuring, we had some kids who did not do very well with argument and claim, and Ms. Tabler already gave us something to help with the reteaching of that, so I've got a lesson now or an activity that I'm going to do for that. But there are some things that some kids are consistently not doing well on that either as a whole group, or like 6th grade can work together, 7th grade can work together, but in some way we need to address those and figure out how are we going to reteach. I went through and started also plugging in, did they get a novice, apprentice, proficient, or distinguished on each test? And I have some kiddos who have scored proficient or distinguished on everything and don't have anything that necessarily needs to be retaught with them. And we've had this discussion before, we're not pushing those higher kids. So Jet and I had started, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around what I want to do, but I want them to have some kind of project here that they're working on. Some kids need some mini lesson reteaching. Some of them only 1 or 2. I've got some that have 8 or 10 that they're just not doing well on. Right. So that's what I want. I want to know between now and either test time or the end of the year when they leave me, who is going to get some reteaching lessons? What specifically am I going to use to do the reteaching? And those that don't need it, what am I going to do to push them?
Another key component of PLC collaborative work is the development and clarification of goals for students. Let's listen to this PLC team discuss their desire to help students develop the writing skills for answering an ORQ.
Then they got it. So I want to just work on-demand paragraph, the essential parts, like for their argumentative this time, and I know I'm behind, so what?
Oh, we are.
Pacing myself. They're going to have to fill in their claim, their reason, their elaboration, the counterclaim, the rebuttal, and then the closing sentence. And I'm just trying to show them that's one way to structure the paragraph. I've already taught them that there has to be red on the top, red on the bottom, as far as a opening and closing sentence.
And I actually have a graphic organizer that actually looks like that with a button on the top, a button on the bottom, and all the things in between.
Yeah, it works well. Mm-hmm. And when I say, you don't make a sandwich with rye bread on the top and white on the bottom, or rye bread on top and wheat on the bottom, or a muffin on the top and a biscuit on the bottom. It's usually the same bread, so let's make those two have the same keyword in them or connect. Anyway, I would like to just start doing a weekly on-demand paragraph. And then
so
maybe
besides narrative and info article, are there anything else?
The argumentative, those 3. So those, we can give on-demand paragraphs for those 3 structures. And then maybe once a month, maybe, what do we got here? End of March?
So you've got
End of
March,
April.
6 weeks. I do
6
that
weeks,
now.
good idea. Exceeds
Right,
your,
down to 6
Once,
Okay.
big, the whole shebang,
Yeah.
time and whatnot.
Okay,
and
so we need to get together and pick out the topics or whatever.
There's a million of them
I know that.
available.
Well, she just said the KDE just released some as well.
A third key component of PLC work is the development of an action plan. As you can see, the action plan clarifies the objective, strategies, and assessments to be implemented. It also states the specific activities, sequence of steps, and the time needed to put the plans into motion. Lastly, the action plan clarifies who is responsible for the implementation of the key components of the plan. A fourth key to the PLC meeting time is to delegate responsibilities to the members so as to share the responsibilities of implementation. It is important to come to your PLC meeting prepared with the necessary materials. For example, assessment data, student samples of novice, apprentice, proficient, and distinguished work, or come ready to model an instructional strategy. Bring IEPs, rubrics, core content standards, behavioral concerns, professional growth plans, your school's CSIP, and lists of students needing intervention and/or extensions. If there was work specific to your action plan, you should be ready to update your PLC team on its progress. A fifth key to a PLC meeting is to spend time assessing the items that your PLC has determined to monitor. What has your PLC determined to monitor? Are you gathering baseline data, or are you gathering data to show the impact of an instructional strategy or other program? For example, SuccessMaker automatically establishes a baseline of data for a student so as to determine if gains are occurring over time. Or, utilizing data from the data room can help PLCs identify problems or celebrate successes. Lastly, PLCs should spend the last few minutes of time identifying any items for the agenda for the next PLC meeting. Consider closing your time together in a similar way you began your time by saying something together. At the beginning of your meeting, your PLC reviews its norms. In closing, consider finding something that you can say or do in order to leave your time on a positive note. Perhaps reciting a poem together, like this one.
Work while you work, play while you play. This is the way to be happy each day. All that you do, do with your might. Things done by halves are never done right. Bye. 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 Bye.